Are you struggling in your marriage when it comes to communication? And are you finding that you say something and then he just lashes right back at you, and then you might do the same or you might shut down? If you're finding those patterns occurring, then make sure you watch this entire video so you learn the specifics around the hidden messages behind what he's trying to say. Now, I know when you're going through a really tough time in your marriage right now, if you're potentially on the verge of a divorce or going through a separation on some level, that we tend to lose hope. But I really want you to know that people like Angie and Laurie and Sarah and Michelle and all these incredible women who've been able to save their marriages over the years that I've worked with, they also were in the same place that you're in, sometimes feeling hopeless, occasionally find themselves in a place of hope, and then they find themselves going back down and feeling like it's just pointless, and you're getting these mixed messages and so on. So if you are in that place, just remember that change is possible, transformation is real. Now, I've always found communication really fascinating in relationships. What is it that allows two people to have an extraordinary relationship and have such beautiful communication with each other, and another couple who are just going hammer and tong on each other for years? What is it? What is the difference there? And honestly, what I really believe in is, in relationships, our partners are our greatest teacher. And what that means is that we're often drawn to a person that brings out aspects of ourselves that we haven't developed. So, for example, let's say you are a shy, kind of more passive, quiet person. Then what's going to happen is you're potentially going to be drawn to someone who's going to be more extroverted, who's going to be more out there, a bit more confident. And what that's doing is it's bringing out parts of yourself, i.e. the parts of you that aren't necessarily as confident or aren't necessarily as more extroverted, to help you to bring that out so you can become more balanced. And the same goes with him as well. He is also around you to help develop maybe a part of him that needs to learn to listen better, and maybe to also help him to develop the ability to be able to, apply two ears, one mouth, listen twice as much as he speaks, and so on. So ultimately our goal is to become whole. The problem is, though, is in relationships, the people that we are drawn to initially, we're attracted to them, they help us, we're drawn to those kind of behaviors. But once we get into the marriage, into the relationship, what happens is it causes a whole heap of problems, because we get annoyed by the very thing that actually we were attracted to in the first place. So if someone is really out there and confident, the chances are they're going to bring that part of themselves into everyday life. And so an individual might be getting frustrated because he's so loud and so out there all the time. But you were drawn to that in the first place. And equally, he might have been drawn to someone who is more shy and more quiet, and they like that. But then when it comes to making decisions around the house and so on, that person can't make a decision, and it drives them nuts. So that's a simple example of how this idea of attraction plays out, but also how it can create huge issues when it comes to communication. Now, the reason why I wanted to shoot this video is I wanted to explain to you specifically around what you need to do if you are finding yourselves in difficult times when it comes to the communication piece. And in particular, understand the hidden messages that are there when he says certain things to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through a few examples of this and try and keep this as short and sweet as possible. And it will just help you to understand the hidden meaning behind the words and the phrases that he's actually saying. So the first phrase that I often hear a lot from my clients, that they hear from their husbands, is that, why is it that you never ever contribute financially? You're not spending enough time, you're not bringing enough money into this family, and so on. Okay, so that's one that comes up a lot. Now, on the surface level, we can look at it and go, well, he's just being rude and he's being mean, I'm the one that's taking care of the family, or maybe I am working but I'm not making a huge amount of money, and so on. And in the beginning, that may not have been a problem, but what happens is, over time, little things tend to stack, which then creates frustration. Now, we can look at it from the outside and think, okay, well, hang on, that's not very nice. Like, he's going off at you about not being able to contribute enough money and so on. That's really difficult to hear. But what we need to do is look deeper behind those statements. Okay? So in this example, you might think that he's frustrated about the financial side of it, but what he's really triggered about is those deeper wounds of insecurity, of potential failure, and also a feeling of insignificance on some level, that he's not able to step up. So with any type of communication like this, we need to look for the hidden needs that that person is struggling with at that moment in time. Once again, he might be talking about money, but what he's really referring to is that he feels pressure of having to take the load. He feels fear that he may not be able to contribute to the level that he wanted to. He might feel insignificant, that he's not stepping up at the level that he believes that he wanted to, and maybe he had plans in his own mind, he's not living up to that level. And what happens is emotionally we find ourselves kind of almost lowering our standards a little bit in those moments. So we get used to operating at a certain level. Rather than saying, you know what, I'm not at the level that I want to be, but I want to raise the bar now. Sometimes our emotions can get the better of us and drag us down. And so he's in a place where he's then feeling all these emotions and these deeper feelings and deeper needs that are not being met, especially around security and significance. Those are the two big ones there. Now, if you understand that that's where he's at, then you may take a different approach in terms of your communication. You know, you might take more time to then say, oh, look, honey, I really, really appreciate all the efforts that you do for us. Let's work together and let's try and figure out a way that we can sort of go to new heights at this moment in time. So that might be one thing that you can do and say, depending on how close you are at the moment. Or internally within yourself, it might just mean that because you have empathy and understanding for where he's at, that can then allow you to just change your own emotional state. So you're like, hey, look, I have compassion for where he's at, rather than reacting to his statements. So that's why it's really, really important to do that and to recognize that that's what's actually happening inside of him. Obviously, there are, exceptions to the rule and so on. But generally, when I've seen this over the last decade working in this area, I see these very similar patterns, and it's something that's really important to understand. Now, the second one I always tend to hear a lot is, you never ever do the things that I want you to do around the home. Now, you might listen to that and think, man, he's just being so unreasonable. I take care of the family, I do a whole bunch of stuff, I'm always cleaning and cooking, and I give you this and I give you that. And you'd be absolutely within your right to feel that way. But when we listen to that also, what we need to do is take a different spin on it and understand, okay, when he says that, what is he actually being triggered about? And for a lot of men, it's the sense of needing to feel respected. And he might be in those instances feeling like he hasn't felt respected over the years. And this is just a symptom of that. So let's just say hypothetically he's going off and working and he's doing, providing all the finances and so on. Then what's happening is he comes back home, he sees some of these things that have happened, or maybe the house isn't at a level that he wants it to be, and he starts feeling disrespected as a result of that. Now, I'm not saying at all that what he's feeling is kind of right and that's the way it should be. I'm huge for equality, and I believe that it's not a woman's job to do just that and so on. I don't question that in any way. But my point is that once again, with any type of communication, we need to look at the deeper wounds behind it. That's the key thing in all of this. And sometimes individuals can feel disrespected when certain things are not appreciated over a period of time. So if he doesn't feel like he's being respected on different levels, then it's not going to take much to trigger him. So how do we resolve that? Well, you have to basically make him feel respected. And you can make him feel respected in a number of different ways. But ultimately, it's about making him feel really, really significant and feeling, special within himself. So if you need to, elevate him by talking him up, or little things that we talk about on a day-to-day basis, and you're like, wow, how did you know all that? That's amazing, hun. That's so incredible. You've got so much knowledge. Or even just complimenting him on on the physical level as well is really important, because here's the thing, we all want to feel special. That's just a human need of ours. We want to feel that special. I mean, you'll want to feel exactly the same, and that's often why you'll be reacting to some of the things that are going on at the moment emotionally, because you don't feel like a priority, you don't feel special. And equally, he'll just be having a different experience or manifestation of the need that he wants met. So we've just got different almost rules in a way that operate in our mind in terms of how we want to feel special and how we want to feel respected and so on. But once you understand the hidden meaning behind his sort of comments, then you can react and communicate in a different way. Or once again, you can have empathy for it. And when we have empathy, we open our heart. When we open our heart, we come from love. When we come from love, we say things that are in a bit more of a beautiful way. But we also learn to set appropriate boundaries within ourselves as well. So it's a lovely balance that we can find when we start to find empathy for someone else and where they're actually at. And it can really create some beautiful shifts in terms of communication. And the third one that I see a lot and I hear about a lot is when the husband will say things like, you're always so needy, or you're always so emotional about things all the time. And that can trigger people quite a lot in terms of the reaction to that comment. And once again, understandably so. I mean, if you're being hurt, it's a natural reaction to feel emotional. It's a natural reaction to potentially cry and so on. But what we need to do again is to look at the statement or the comments that he's making and go, what is the hidden meaning behind it? And in this situation, the hidden meaning really comes down to his desire for freedom and to not be controlled and to not feel like he is screwing up and not making his woman happy. Okay? So in a situation like this, let's say he makes a comment like this and you get emotional. Then what happens is the chances are he's probably going to shut down. See, that shutting down is an avoidance mechanism. It's I don't know how to handle this situation. I'm clueless, so I'm just going to back out. And he'll often feel like that because he'll feel like if he says certain things, you're going to react to it or you're going to get emotional to it. And so he doesn't know what to say. He's not sure what to say at all on any level. So he starts to really back off and really sort of worry inside. The other thing is that what it's actually doing is it's really highlighting the importance of that need for freedom on his part. You see, if he feels like you're needy all the time and clingy, then a big part of a man is this need to want to do what he wants when he wants. Now that doesn't mean he goes off and cheats and does, engages in all these really terrible behaviors. Not at all. It's just this desire to say, well, if I want to go and watch a TV show, I want to watch a TV show. If I want to go and, play golf or whatever, then I want to play golf, whatever it is. It's just having this freedom and this flexibility to do that. And, a reason why a lot of men don't want to get married early on or have cold feet around it is this feeling that they're going to lose that freedom. And so that's a real concern for a lot of guys. And so if they feel like that freedom is being taken away from them, then they feel lesser of a man. They don't feel like they have that ability to dictate terms in their own life. And that's a scary place for a lot of guys. So if he's feeling like he's losing that freedom and that on some level he feels like he's being controlled and he's also failing at making you happy, then that's going to shut him down and he's not going to know what to do and how to handle things. Once again, if you understand it and you recognize that that's the pattern that's going on, then you can adapt things, okay? So one of the things that my wife does beautifully in our marriage is that there's never any kind of sense of restriction on any level. If I feel like I want to do, whatever it is that I want to do in terms of hanging out with friends or, going out and playing sport, whatever, she's never going to stop me in any particular way. She's never going to be like, oh, you're never with me. And this has happened right from day one, is that it makes me want to spend more time with her. So I want to be around her more. I love spending time with my wife. Whereas I've been in relationships in the past where that sense of freedom doesn't really apply, and it's made me not want to be with those people at all. Now here's the trick. Some of you might be sitting here going, but hang on, I give my husband all sorts of freedom and he's, still operating in this particular way. What is going on? But what I find is that when it comes to actual freedom, it's not just about the act of saying, hey, look, you can do what you want. It's more about the energy that you hold on to as a wife when it comes to your sense of independence and B, your genuine desire for that person to, you know, be happy and have fun and enjoy themselves and so on, and also want your own independence as well. That's a really important thing. Like, I've had relationships in the past where I've been given that freedom, but there's a part of me that's going, oh no, she really needs me, or she doesn't do anything on her own, or she has no sense of independence on any level, and she doesn't really have friends. So I feel compelled to want to be around them and to actually like help them out, as opposed to just going, hey, cool, I want to go out and hang out with my mates, and I'm just, you know, she can have a good time. And I think that's the thing with my wife, is that she has such independence, and she's such a beautiful, loving woman, and comes from such an open-hearted place. She wants me to be happy, to do these things, but also she has a very busy life herself and does her thing as well. But what it does, it makes us want to spend more time with each other as well. So it's this subtle, delicate balance that needs to be found. And that's why a lot of this journey is all about helping us to heal internally and really creating those shifts and feeling grounded and feeling whole and really healing those emotional wounds. Because once you start to do that, then your life becomes a reflection of how you feel on the inside. And I get it, you know, relationships, they have so many different little, you know, factors, and everyone might feel like it's a little bit different and their circumstances are a little bit different, but there are patterns and there are things that happen on a regular basis that, you know, can be shifted and can be transformed. But a lot of it comes from the internal work that we have to find within ourselves, because once we do that, then we're going to communicate differently. Our tonality is going to be very different when it comes to the communication, our body language and so on. People start to create shifts, and then that starts to shift things on the outside as well. So, you know, going back to this example of this freedom, you know, being able to create an environment where you want your husband to enjoy himself and have a great time, but you also elevate you, is this lovely balance that you can find. And the thing was, he will also want the same for you. You know, he'll want you to have that sense of freedom within you as well. And, you know, once that's created this lovely balance, then, you know, you can really take your marriage and your relationship to a whole new level. But it all starts from within. And I know that can be a little bit frustrating, and I can tell you right now, there have been so many times on my journey I've been like, why do I always have to be the one to shift? Why do I always have to change? But no matter what challenges have come up in my life, I've always had to go back to that place where I've had to work on me. And that's what I really want to encourage you all. So if you're in a place where, you know, you're struggling emotionally, you're feeling inadequate, you're feeling these feelings of rejection and potential abandonment, and you're really ready to create some shifts, not just kind of interested, but genuinely committed, and you want to start really putting in the effort and the work in, then I'd love to be of service to you through my program, the Authentic Relationship System. It's a really comprehensive system that's going to teach you specifics on all about your marriage, how to heal your marriage, but also how to grow within you and heal you and create those big, powerful shifts on the inside. And boy, when you do that and you're really committed to the process, it's amazing some of the changes that can occur in your life. So, you know, once again, if it feels right for you, all you need to do is in the description section below, just click on that link which says book a call with me. Click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll call you personally, not someone else, but I'll call you personally, just so I can learn about you, where you are now, where you want to get to, how we can bridge that gap, and really just serve you on this path, because, you know, life's short and we don't want to suffer our way through it. We want to experience joy and happiness and love and laughter, and I believe in you, and I know that transformation can absolutely happen. So once again, just click on that link and I'll call you at that time. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, make sure you hit that like button below. If you want to get more videos like that, hit that subscribe button. And do let me know what your biggest takeaway is, or if you have any comments, or maybe you have a topic that you want me to talk about in my next video as well. Just post it below and I'll make sure I talk about that in my next video. Thank you so much. And if you want to learn why your husband engages in these mixed messages, click this video above. If you want to learn whether no contact is the best approach for you right now, click this video above. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.